Have you ever felt that? The feeling that our tools, our frameworks, our languages, they're all getting better and faster, but somehow our jobs are getting harder? Well, you're not alone. We're going to dive deep into Diana Montalion's incredible book, Learning Systems Thinking, which gets right to the heart of that very feeling. If that tension sounds familiar, you are in exactly the right place. Okay, let's get into it.
I mean, this quote from Jessica Kerr just nails it, doesn't it? It's such a perfect way to kick things off because it speaks to a frustration so many of us feel every single day. Yeah, sure, we can spin up a new microservice or push a hotfix in minutes. That part's easy. But making the whole system, the entire thing, more reliable, more scalable, easier to understand, whoa, that feels like it's getting more complicated by the second. And that paradox is exactly what we're going to unpack today.
So yeah, let's give this feeling a name, the modern software paradox. It's this strange reality where our individual tasks are super efficient, right? But the big picture, the overall challenge of our work, has just ballooned. And the reason for this is kind of wild when you think about it. We've completely changed the game we're playing, but we haven't really updated our rulebook or even the way we think about the game itself.
And this, right here, this is the shift. The author has this great personal story about going from a tiny bookstore with dial-up internet in rural Montana to designing these massive, sprawling digital systems. And that journey is basically the story of our entire industry. We're not just coding little, isolated apps anymore. We are architects of these huge, complex, what the book calls socio-technical systems. That's a fancy way of saying systems where people, code, and infrastructure are all tangled up together.
Okay, so this brings us to the core of the problem, our mental toolkit. For years, our go-to problem-solving method has been what you'd call linear thinking. You know the drill. See a big problem, break it down into tiny manageable pieces, solve each little piece one by one, and then stick them all back together. And look, for a really long time, that worked. It worked great. But in this new world of interconnected, complex systems, that approach is starting to break down.
And you can really see the contrast here. On one side, you have linear thinking. It's reductionist. It's all about breaking things down. It looks for simple cause and effect. But on the other side, you've got systems thinking. It's holistic. It's about seeing the whole. It focuses on the web of relationships between all the parts and the weird, unpredictable behaviors that pop out of those connections. We're trying to solve these huge, tangled systems-level problems, but we're still using our old piece-by-piece tools. It's a total mismatch. I absolutely love this metaphor from the book. It's just perfect. Think about it. A roadmap is an incredible tool. It's detailed, it's reliable, as long as you're on land. But the moment you try to use that same map to navigate the shifting currents and unpredictable nature of the ocean, you are in big trouble. You don't just need new tools, you need a fundamentally different way of seeing the territory. And right now, many of us are out on the ocean with a highway map in our hands. So, what's the answer? Well, the book argues it's not another heavyweight framework or some new methodology you have to get certified in. Nope, it's something much more fundamental. It's about a shift in perspective. It's about trading in that old roadmap for a new one, a map that's actually designed for the ocean we're all navigating. And that new map is called systems thinking.
Now let's look at the actual definition here, because there are two words that are super important: practice and perspective. This tells you right away that systems thinking isn't a final destination. It's not a box you check. It's an ongoing practice, kind of like learning a musical instrument. And it's a new perspective, a new lens you learn to see the world through. A lens that helps you focus on the relationships between the parts, not just the individual parts themselves.
Okay, this idea here is a real mind bender. It completely reframes what we do for a living. If our systems are built by people, and systems are all about relationships, then it follows that the design of our software is going to look a lot like the design of our communication. Suddenly, that really stubborn bug or that weird performance issue, maybe it's not a tech problem at all. Maybe it's actually a communication problem between teams just showing up in the code. Wild, right? All right, so that's the what. But how do we actually start doing this? How do we learn to see all these invisible connections? Well, one of the most practical tools in the book is something called the iceberg model. And it's basically a framework for helping us stop just reacting to problems all day and start digging down to understand the deeper reasons why they keep happening. So at the very top of the iceberg, right, the part you can see sticking out of the water, those are the events. This is our daily life. The server crashed, the build failed, a customer reported a major bug. This is the reactive layer, where we spend almost all of our time, just firefighting. But if we look just below the surface, we can start to see patterns. We might notice, hey, that same server seems to crash every single month. Or these kinds of bugs always seem to pop up right before a major release. See, we're moving from just reacting to recognizing trends.
And now we go deeper. This is where the real leverage is. Underneath the patterns, you find the structure. What's causing those patterns to keep happening? Maybe it's the on-call policy that burns people out. Maybe it's the way that teams are organized. And then, at the very bottom, the foundation of the entire iceberg, you find the mental models. These are the unspoken beliefs and assumptions that created the structure in the first place. Beliefs like, moving fast is always more important than building things right. Or, that's not my job, it's the other team's problem. And here's the key. If you really want to fix the events at the tip, you can't just patch them. You have to change the structures and the mental models at the very bottom.
All right, so let's tie this all together. Our old way of thinking, that linear, break-it-down approach, just isn't cutting it anymore for the complex systems we built today. We need to adopt systems thinking, this ongoing practice of seeing the whole picture, of seeing the relationships. And we have concrete tools, like the iceberg model, that can help us look past the daily fires and find the real sources of our problems, the hidden structures, and the deep-seated mental models that drive everything.
So I want to leave you with this final, really powerful idea. There's a famous saying in systems thinking: every system is perfectly designed to get the results it gets. Just let that sink in for a second. If that's true, then all the bugs, the outages, the frustrations you deal with, they're not accidents. They are the logical outcomes of the system as it's currently designed. So the question for you is this: what invisible forces, what unseen structures, what unspoken beliefs are creating the results you're getting every day? And what could you change if you could finally see them?